Okay, we're going to talk the housing market a little bit this morning, specifically the local Chattanooga housing market, and maybe specifically your house, because we're very happy this morning to welcome Thomas DeMoss and Lee Gates on the show. They're with Chattanooga Property Solutions. Solutions being a key word because their goal, and we'll let them explain it more, is to come in, and if you're looking to make a move, you have these emotions attached to your house, and you want kind of a simple, trustworthy sale, if you will, you hope people will call you. Is that a fairly good setup?
It is. We use the term, if you have a problem property, we have a solution. And problem properties, they run the gamut. It could be a relocation issue, it could be a financial issue, whatever it is. If it's a problem, there's a reason you want to sell your house, we want you to give us a call.
So we've been talking a little bit before the camera lights went on, and there's very much a personal approach that y'all take, and Lee, you've been expanding on this with me, because it's the connection that you enjoy most with your clients.
This is home. It's home for both me and Thomas. We've both lived here for more than 20 years. I married a girl from Cleveland, Tennessee. Working with neighbors is what we're passionate about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a scenario. So what you do, you're both licensed realtors?
I am a licensed realtor.
Okay.
Lee is
I'm not.
Okay, but you both know a thing or two about the housing industry and
Absolutely.
making a house the best it can possibly be.
Yeah.
So if you often get calls from people who either have to make a last minute quick move, they're wanting to relocate to get closer to grandchildren, whatever has happened has happened.
Financial distress, people don't like to talk about it, but things happen. We've helped a lot of folks that have, for whatever reason, had a job change, relocation, foreclosures. We've helped some folks actually here in Red Bank that were facing tax delinquency and were going to lose their home. So we were able to come in there and help them. And every problem is unique. That's what we want to do. He and I joke that we wish we could just find a process for everything, but you can't, because everybody that calls us is a unique individual, and they have a problem or a challenge that is not like everybody else's.
Right. Okay, so if you're having that challenge, your emotions are already high.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's not very fun to welcome two strangers into your life and have to open up about the hardship you're facing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm guessing you kind of walk in with kindness.
The most important thing to me is just to ask questions. I want to understand, and that's every house that I buy from someone, they can share what they want. I'm not there to pry, but between the two of us, we've got bordering on 1,000 purchases of homes that we can rely on. That means I've got a list of experiences and ideas that I'd love to share, and most people don't realize how many ways there are to go about that, and how many ways that can be done very quickly. More often, very slowly, very methodically, with a good plan and a good process.
Okay, that might be then circling back to something you said to me before we got on camera too, which I loved, which is one of the first things you want to know from people is what is your plan?
Yeah.
Sure.
And how quickly are you wanting to move? Because if you sell your house fast, you may have nowhere to go.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I want to share this story. We purchased a house from a lady. I had met with her. She said, I can't sell until her child was in middle school, until he goes into high school. That was next year. So we sat at her table, we came to an agreement and a timeline, and then a year later she called me and she said, I'm ready to go.
Wow.
And
Build a plan that makes sense.
Still the plan, nothing changed. We had a purchase agreement set for her house that didn't expire, and she was ready. And it worked out,
One of the most common things that people don't realize, inherited houses are a common thing. And a lot of people, there's a lot of situations where someone may have passed. There was no probate, there was no process for that. And a lot of people assume you can't sell a house that was owned by someone that's passed, which is far from the case. And so that's one of the things that we enjoy doing the most, is saying, well, here's what Tennessee or Georgia statute says,
right.
And because of that, here are our options.
You also, when I mentioned very much local, that's something that you pride yourselves on. So you go a little bit, you go Cleveland area, you go as far
Cleveland,
down as
Lafayette, maybe South Pittsburgh, but this is home.
Yeah.
And you also are big believers with this housing crisis, if you will, that we're having here, the shortage. If people can just get their houses fixed up to be livable, then those rents and things can become stabilized a bit.
Having options is always good.
Yeah, we've started, I mean, one of the things that we've taken upon, we've actually started building new construction. So we do buy land from people as well. So we built our first house last year, we're building another house this year. And yeah, that's the thing is if you drive around the city, you see that there's a lot of just vacant houses that are just sitting there. We've got a team that can take those houses that are dilapidated and we can make those homes for folks. And that's what we like to do.
So if somebody's watching you today and they're thinking, this might be for me, how does it start? How does the process start?
Either a phone call or they can go onto our website and fill out the information. Just a few basic questions. We really tell people there's no obligations. We just want to have a conversation. I shared with you because we are so local. We're going to probably run into these folks or whoever calls us in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And we do pride ourselves on taking care of people. Even if we're not the best fit, we're okay.
Sometimes we're not.
Yeah, and we're okay telling you that.
Yeah.
We want to solve your problem, whether we are the solution or not. Most of the time we are. And that's the way we want to go.
Okay, so if you have a situation, I'm going to go with the grandparents looking to move closer to the grandchildren.
Sure.
And they'd like to make sure that they're there before the holiday season.
Sure.
Would they call you? You would come out, you kind of assess the property. I guess you've got to do a general survey to see the strength of the bones of the house and that kind of thing. And then you know what it would take to maybe make some improvements here and there to make it ready for somebody else to move in, and then you draw them up an offer?
You know,
Absolutely.
in the industry, there's a lot of phone numbers you can call that look like they're local, and there's a lot of people that you can talk to on the phone who may claim to be from here. And that 1,000 deals that we've been a part of allow us to walk into a house and without trying to sound arrogant, we've done that enough times that we can size up what you just described. Here are some options for what we would do if we bought it in 15 minutes. We'd need to nail it down, but we can get a broad stroke very quickly and allow us to move the ball forward on a decision of either this makes sense, let's put some paperwork into action, or this other possibility is a better idea. Maybe it makes more sense to sit tight for another few years. Maybe it makes more sense to rent the house out for a year or two. All that's on the table, and we'd love to talk about it.
And I will say this, I have to wrap it up, but something that Lee said that they love to talk about are the memories that are in your house.
Yeah.
So if it's the stove where you learned to bake with your grandmother, or you mentioned that something else you mentioned was your kids riding their bikes down the street, both of them got a tear in my eye, Lee, so I can totally relate.
Well, the thing I love about what I do are the things that we work on matter. Sometimes they matter because things that were really hard happen there, and sometimes they're really beautiful, but they're all special.
Well, here's where you'll find them. It's Chattanooga Property Solutions, 454-3070, online, ChattanoogaPropertySolutions.com, right here in Hickson. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.